I walk through the world feeling pretty invincible.
Yeah.
And America's one of those countries where I don't feel invincible, so I don't like it.
Yeah.
I was in Miami 4 a.m, right? I just had these 2 Russian chicks in this club, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, finished these chicks in their apartment. I come down, and I'm waiting for my Uber. So I'm outside the apartment in Miami. And it's 4 a.m, and this car rolls up. It must have been like a 1996 Toyota Altima, like some old bus-up car. Rolls up. And these 2 guys look at me and go, yo! I was like, what? He goes, is this number 88? I said, bro, don't know. He goes, you don't know where you are? I said, bro, I don't know. Then he turns around and reaches to the back seat. And it's like, it was black in the middle of the night. And I was like, I'm fucked. Because in Romania, I carry, right? So instinctually, I went,
I'm fucked.
And got a gun. Shit. There's nowhere to hide here. There's nowhere to hide here. It's just an open fucking sidewalk. There's nothing but just me and bullets, right? Reaches to the back seat. And for a second, I don't believe in panic because I'm a professional. But I analyze the situation, right? I have no weapon. He's inside of a car. Fists ain't going to do much. I have nowhere to hide. I'm fucked, right? So he reaches to the back, turns back around. It was a pizza. And I was like, oh, thank fuck.
Bro, just whipped out pizza.
Yeah, a pizza. But why do I have to live in that world? Do you know what I mean? Like in America, you're like, you can just get smoked. I had a Rolex on. I'm wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Like it's...
No, I mean, when we went to LA, when we was in LA once, we were driving through like the bad part of LA in like a nice SUV, Chevrolet, but it was like, you know, it wasn't even nice, but it was in this part of LA, it was nice. Yeah. People coming over to the car spitting on it. Yeah. Saying, get the fuck out of this. Like, it was crazy.
What?
Yeah, 100%. It was fucking nuts. I had to roll up the windows and everything. I had to put my seat back so that they couldn't see me through the window.
It's America's a different level, right?
Yeah.
So America, you have to be very, very careful. I mean, I roll with security in London. I got security with me now. London's getting a bit dangerous as well. But without a gun, as long, and I state this without arrogance, right? As long as there is a degree of intimacy in the conflict, I stand a chance. I'm a world level combatant, right? So even if you have a knife, if I hit you, you're fucked anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But with a gun across the street,
that's a good point.
Tough to beat a gun with a fist.
It's harder.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some Neo moves. I've escaped the Matrix. I can dodge bullets. But I don't want to do it too
Andrew,
often.
that's a good point. It's very different for you because when you walk in the streets, you are what you said. You're a 4 times kickboxing world champion. Like it's a lot different. Say we're walking the street. We could be as rich as we want to be, but we've not got.
It's true. But even now, but even then, and this is another point we'll get to. There's a huge difference between fighting and violence. They're different things. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people say to me, hey, Tate, why do you roll security? And I say, 1, for peace of mind, because otherwise I'm on edge all the time. I'm perspicacious, right? So the number one way you protect yourself is to be aware. You have to see it coming. Doesn't matter who you are. If you get sucker punched, you get sucker punched. G. Like if you get hit with a baseball bat, you didn't fucking see it. You're done. Yeah. So the first thing you do is if I don't have security with me, I'm always looking over my shoulder. I'm always watching. I'm always paying attention. Who walked in the bar? Where's this guy? If I sit in a restaurant, I will only sit in the corner where I can see the whole restaurant. I won't have my back to people. I won't do any of these things because I don't want them to sneak attack me. If you want to kill me, give me a chance. At least.
It's got to be somewhat of a fair fight here. It's got to be somewhat
fair. I refuse to die with some sucker punch bullshit.
That would be so shit.
Yeah.
After all of this, you just died from a baseball bat to the back of the head.
Correct. You're right. So that's the first thing about it. But the truth is about fighting and violence is they're very, very different things. I was a professional fighter, and I still am capable as a fighter. If any one man were to come up to me, even with a blade, I know I would disable him and I'd beat him. It's no problem. And I would
still train?
And I would take his life. Yeah.
Train kickboxing, yeah.
But I think the people who truly understand the nature of the world aren't interested in fighting. They're interested in violence. So even for me, for example, let's say I had an enemy and that enemy was a professional fighter. I wouldn't engage him in a fight. I'd engage him in violence. 10 men, machetes. Cool. You show me you're fighting. We'll hit him with a car. Run him over with a truck. Fuck him. Waiting for him to be on the pavement and just fucking hit him with an SUV. Fuck him. Oh, you're a tough guy. All right, cool. There's a difference between fighting and violence. So a lot of people go, oh, he can fight. He's tough. He ain't tough against 10 dude with blades.
Have you had any life and death experiences where someone's...
What's been the craziest one? The one that you thought, fuck, I'm lucky to get away with this one.
I have some stories which I don't want to tell, but I have one story I can tell, which I've already told before, which is a bit more sanitized. But I'm covered in scars. Like I have a scar on the top of my head here. Yeah, where I was hit. I have a knife mark here. You can see where my finger came off. I did sew my finger back on.
Lovely.
I have a stab mark here. So I've been through it. But Yeah, the difference between fighting and violence are very, very different. We'll leave it at that. There's some things I don't want to say on Spotify because of the repercussions of what happened. But I do have a kind of story, which was probably one of the times I was most scared. I was arrested by Spetsnaz, Russian military.
That's fucking wild.
In Transnistria. That was pretty scary.
In where, sorry?
Transnistria?
That's not a real place,
Bro,
bro.
that sounds like a tube line. Like, I swear to God. Like,
Where is that?
everywhere.
That's it's where that Sharif football team that beat Real Madrid are from.
What a spot, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sharif
How
FC,
how
man.
the
You-
fuck does this bloke know?
Yeah, that's some weird knowledge, that is.
You know why?
Baldwin Bankrupt did a video there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Have you seen that guy's channel? Have you seen
I have, yeah,
Baldwin?
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it's a good
good.
channel.
Good.
Yeah, it's a good channel.
Yeah. He's all over the place.
Yeah, he is. He's
He's
all over
sick.
the place.
Yeah, he seems sick.
So I was in Ukraine. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. Let me give a full rendition. So I decided, my brother and I had this genius idea. This is about 5 years ago. My brother thought that Eurovision Song Contest would be full of pussy. He said, Tate.
That's an L, by the way.
I don't know. Me and my brother call each other Tate.
Yeah.
And we live in the same house. And I was asleep. And I remember hearing him say, Tate. I was like, what? He goes, Eurovision's full of girls. That was the exact conversation. I was like, what? I was like, what? And I walked out. I think it was in Israel or something. And there's a crowd that was full of girls screaming. He's like, Eurovision's full of girls. He goes, we need to go to Eurovision, get a table, get some champagne.
Is it not
run
like
it.
all women though?
Well, no, it's
I
gay.
don't
It's
know.
gay people.
I don't know.
Is that what Eurovision is? Just like it's all
It's
women
gay
and
people. It's LGBTQ.
So Tristan was like, let's go to Europe. Is that what he was saying?
Yeah, exactly. Tristan. But yeah, he's like, we're gonna get a table, we're gonna do 100 bottles of champs, we're gonna run it. I was like, whatever, G, don't worry about it. And then like 6 months later, we found out the following Eurovision was in Kiev. And we spent a lot of time in Ukraine because we have a lot of guns in Ukraine. Well, we used to. Probably belong to the fucking Russians now. We had a house in Ukraine and we had a bunch of firearms there, etc. So he's like, Kiev's already full of girls. Now the Eurovision on top, be off the chain. We've got to go Kiev. I was all right, cool. So I was like, whatever. It's an adventure, right? So we got in the car. We live in Bucharest, Romania. We got in the car and we decided to drive there. We drove to the border of Romania, got to Moldova, and the Moldovans wouldn't let us through. They said that we were missing a piece of paper for our car and they wouldn't let us through. And Romania, even though it's EU, has a hard border for cars. You need to actually go to the border and chat shit and get through. Yeah. So they wouldn't let us through. So we left the car in a train station. This is all on the internet somewhere. I've got a really old YouTube series called Hateful Tate. Really old. It's all on there.
Yeah.
So we left the car in a train station, got a taxi to Chisinau, Moldova, which is another place I actually got jumped. Different story. Got the train overnight from Chisinau, Moldova to Kiev. Now, on this train, I found out later that because there's no airports involved to get in and out of Ukraine, there's a lot of bad guys that take this train.
Right.
So it was about 3 a.m. when I went to the food cart. And I went to the food cart and I sat down and there's these two big guys, 110 kilo, 120 kilo, big guys, bald heads, like mafia guys, units, right? Sitting over there. And I'm sitting there and I sit in the food cart and I said to the guy, food, he doesn't speak any English. I was like, bro, just.
It's a bit of fucking scran, mate.
Give me some lunch.
Bro, I'm in the food cart. You've been in the food cart for 60 years. Why do people come to the food cart? Do we need a language? Give me some food. Fucking dumbass. So anyways, give me some food. So he brings me some soup, whatever. I'm sitting there. The two big guys get up and they walk over to me. And one of them sits here. So I'm now trapped. I can't move. And the other one sits opposite me. And I realized I still have my Rolex on like a dickhead, right? I got my Rolex on. So I'm like, okay. I've been around the world, right? And I know the world. I know how it functions. So I'm sitting there going, okay, worst case, I give up my Rolex. I survive. Who gives a shit, right? So the guy sits opposite me and goes, where are you from? I said, I live in Romania. I didn't say I was American. Didn't say I was English. I live in Romania. You're Romanian. I said, no, I live there. He goes, and he talked to me in Romanian. I don't speak Romanian, of course. So I was like, I understand, but I don't speak, blah, blah, blah. Why you're on this train? Da-da-da. Start talking to me. Anyway, he gets a bottle of vodka and starts pouring shots. You drink. I was like, oh, okay, fine. Have one, have two, have three. And they're drinking, you know, like Russians. Like bam, bam, bam,
just
bam.
Relentless.
And I'm like, okay, he just wants to fuck me up on booze. That's my last skill gone. So it got to a point where I was like, look, bruv, no more. I'm not drinking anymore. Can't drink anymore. I'm not Russian. Try to make a joke of it. I'm not Russian. He goes, oh, okay. Why you're on my train? I said, it's your train? Why is it your train? He goes, oh, this is all mine. Then start talking some shit. I was like, all right, cool. And then he took my hand to shake my hand. He goes, oh, this is all mine. Did it like this. He took my hand and he went and he looked at my watch like this. And then looked at me.
That is a
You don't want that.
And I was like,
That's not good.
fuck.
That's not good.
so I'm sitting there and I'm like, I said, are you going to take my watch?
Was this guy bigger than you, by the way?
Yeah. So I'm like 95.
He's at 120, right?
Yeah, I'm like 95 kilo. He's fat, but he's big.
Yeah.
Right? Just a big guy.
Big guy.
But that's not even about it. The truth is about, like, we're talking about fighting and violence. They're different things, right? I'm a world level kickboxer, but I'm sitting down. There's a 110 kilo here guy next to me. I'm pinned against a wall.
Yeah.
This guy here.
That watch is gone if it wants to be
like,
gone.
what the fuck am I going to do? They might have blades on them.
Yeah.
The fuck are you going to do? Right? You're going to die. It's stupid to really try and fight. So I said to him, are you going to take my watch? And he kind of looked at me and goes, why do you think I'm a thief? Da-da-da. And I said, no, I've just been around the world. I understand how the world works. And he asked me then, he said, what's your job? I said, I'm a fighter. I'm a kickboxer. He said, oh, you're a kickboxer for who? And I told him the organizations I fought for, etc. I definitely didn't scare him. He wasn't scared of me kickboxing, but I think he respected me.
Right.
Oh.
And what's funny about the world is that when you're a fighter, you get a lot of respect from people. You get fear from some people, but I actually think respect will save you from more trouble than fear ever will. And I think he respected me. He was like, this guy's brave. He's a fighter. And he respected me. And I think he changed his mind. And he said, okay. Have a nice time. And he goes, number 13. That was the carriage number me and my brother were in. So we already knew what carriage I was in.
Yeah.
So he said, bro.
He'd eyed it up. Yeah.
He literally did this. I went to get up to leave. And when I went to the door to open the food carriage, it was locked.
Oh, so
It
they
was
had
locked. And now the old man goes, and gets his ass up and comes over with the key. I was like, why the fuck did you? And I said to him, you locked the door? Looks at me like, yeah. And what? He's paying me, not you.
Yeah.
Fucking prick. Right? So anyway, so we got off in the train in Kiev, went to Eurovision, fucking sucked. Blew. Everything about it sucked. No girls. My brother's a liar. Sucked. Right?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to take the train home. That's the whole reason I told the train story. The train is now mafia run. Don't take the train home. So Eurovision ends. There's no flights back because everything's been booked up for fucking months. I don't want to take the train home. So the only other way home is car. Right? So I start going to taxis saying, can you take me to Romania? Don't give a fuck. I'll give you a 2 year's wages. I'm rich. Take me to Romania. At the time, Ukrainians needed a visa to get into EU, so they couldn't get into EU. Eventually, some guy goes, my cousin has visa for EU. He will drive you. It's like, cool. I give him 2,000 American, which is like 5 months' wages. He comes. He goes, he's a rally driver. He's one of the best rally drivers in Ukraine. He's number one driver in Ukraine. All right, whatever. Cool. So anyway, he goes, we pick you up at 7 here on this street corner. And I remember, because I don't know if it's like this anymore. It probably is, thanks to Putin. But back then, it was so cheap. I remember we were waiting for the guy.
What, Ukraine?
Ukraine. So cheap.
I went there for a Champions League final. I couldn't believe it, bro. I paid less than £1 for a pint.
It's crazy cheap.
Mental.
We were waiting on the street corner to get picked up by this rally driver, right? We went into the store. We thought we'll drink on the way home. Nothing else to do. We bought a bottle of vodka, 2 cartons of cherry juice, and 2 Snickers bars. And it was like €3.
Yeah, it's
including the
joke,
vodka.
innit?
Mate,
It's a
you
joke.
think
nuts.
it's cheap there? You get to Chernobyl. That's where it's fucking cheap. But just before the war kicked off, I was in Chernobyl. And it is, because I went there to make a YouTube video.
Yeah.
And
Do you have radiation poisoning?
you know what?
I fucking hope so. That would be that's a sick
I had
story.
to get checked for the full thing. So when you go in and out of Chernobyl, you have to go in this machine. And you put your hands and your feet and everything and your body against this whole wall, and then you push against it, and it tells you if you can come out. Because if you go in there and you've got too much radiation on you, you ain't allowed to leave.
Wow. Yeah.
So if it fucking doesn't beep and say you're good, then you're stuck there, my friend. You're done out. That's
fucked.
it. You actually have to go ahead and live in, because there's a little town in there that still exists.
Wow.
Small town.
You're living with the babushkas.
We're talking about 30 people in there.
Wow.
And if you don't beep on that machine, that's it. You go and live in there now.
Wow.
You work in Chernobyl now. That's it. You're done. I just went there for the video. So when I was getting out and I was like, this is it. My 2-day trip's done. I come up to the machine. I go, well, I better fucking beep here or I'm stuck. He's like, hopefully you beep, my friend. And I'm like, well, I fucking hope so, because I need to go back to the country for my podcast. But yeah, fortunately, I beeped, and that's why I'm here with yourself.
If you didn't beep, you just message the war room. And we get
well, you know what? That's
the helicopter comes in, picks up.
We'd fix it. Trust me, my friend, we'd fix it.
Listen, when this podcast ends, I'll be right in your ear saying, you know what, Andrew, I've got a lot to offer to the war room.
Yeah, perfect. Good.
I'll make a trade, no problem.
Yeah, all right, let's do it.
Listen, I've got
buy the war room.
Off air, we'll talk about it.
No, 100%. I've got Peruvian goat farm if you're interested.
Hey, there's some very desperate men out there who need goats.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Sorry, continue your story. We don't need to go into the Peruvian goat farm.
Unless you want a
guy's
Peruvian
trying
goat,
to say
my
his
friend.
story,
Unless
and
you
he's
want
making
one.
an offer about a fucking Peruvian goat farm.
Listen, I'll make a trade. Peruvian goat farm, Tate confidential channel.
Yeah, right. But so long story short, this dude turns up. We have some booze. The guy is like fucking 14. I've never seen someone so young drive a car. Guy's literally a kid. I swear he must have been maybe actually genuinely 14. I was like, bro, can you drive? I'm a rally driver. I was like, you're not a fucking rally driver. What kind of lie is this? Why is everyone lying to me that you're a rally driver? You're like 14. I'm 18. I was like, bro, you're 14.
Yeah.
So anyway, he says he's the only one with a visa, right? So we get in the car, we start drinking. We're driving. Before this, I'd never heard of Transnistria in my life. Didn't know it was a place that existed. It's a breakaway micronation in Moldova. I looked this up afterwards. At the end of the USSR, they wanted to be more pro-Russian. Moldova wanted to be more pro-Romanian. They started some civil war, blah, blah, blah. 1992, nobody gives a shit. It's a breakaway micronation, right? So we're driving, and then me and Tristan by now are hammered because we drunk like the whole bottle of vodka. Yeah. And I look out the window, and there's like blacked out, fully black, like Spetsnaz soldier. And I'm like,
fuck.
T, see that? And he's like, what? I'm like, who the fuck are these? He goes, "No, border guards." So they don't look like normal border guards to me, bro. They look like bad boys.
Special
special guys.
Shit. Yeah.
So anyway, we get to the fucking border, and they come up to the car, and they go, start talking in Russian, drag the driver out. So they drag him out the car, and they close the door. So now me and Tristan are sitting in the car for about a good 10 seconds. The driver's missing, and we're like, the fuck is this? And Tristan's like, I don't know, maybe they didn't like the car, blah, blah. Then the two doors open, they grab us, pull out the car, right? So we're like, fuck. And when we get out the car, we see fully blacked out, black fucking helmets, black fucking ski mask, fully black, ARs, black, like Spetsnaz guys, right? They drag us, take us into this little hut, little thing by the side of the road. And we're like, what the fuck is the problem? And they're like, who are you? We're like, we're coming back to Romania from Ukraine. I'm like, why are you in Ukraine? And I said,
not Eurovision.
I'm sure you almost want to lie.
And you know what? The guy looks at me like, he looks at me and goes, this is either the worst cover story I ever heard, or this guy is a fucking idiot. Because the worst thing is, I was wearing a black t-shirt and like some green jogging bottoms. He goes, why are you dressed like soldier? I was like, I'm not dressed like a fucking soldier. I got jogging bottoms and a t-shirt on. Bro.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm built. I'm military aged. I look like a fucking soldier, right?
You
do have the soldier look. You got the soldier look.
A fucking American passport. Yeah. So he goes, I go, Eurovision? Kind of this. And he looked at me just with hatred. He was not happy with who I was and why I was there.
Yeah.
So they asked us a few more questions. We were sitting in the border guards. They went and they took all our luggage, poured it all on the floor, just poured it all out in the dirt. And there was 4,000 American there. And I was like, listen, bro, we live in Romania. You can Google us. We live in Romania. We just went to Eurovision, went to Ukraine, etc. I didn't know Transnistria was a place. I'm not here to cause any problems. I just want to go home, please. Blah, blah, blah. He goes, you must pay fine. I was like, okay, what's the fine for? He goes, for impersonating soldier.
Oh, fucking hell.
I was like, oh, how much? He goes, 4,000 American.
Oh, that's how.
Yeah. How convenient. It's 4,000 American in the fucking
very
suitcase.
Convenient. I was like, oh, that's very convenient. You can take exactly the money in my suitcase. Please take it, sir. All right. Yeah, thank you. All right. Sorry about that. I'll make sure I never wear green jogging bottoms again. Sorry. Bundled us in a car and escorted us to the border and told us to fuck off and said never come back again. So that was in Transnistria. But that was pretty scary because they had the Rottweilers as well on the chain, you know, like on the bark, trying to bite you and shit. And I was just sitting there. And you know what? When you're a fighter, something about you in every single situation, you analyze it for like combative ability.
Like, would I be able to get out of this?
Like Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
You know, you're sitting there going, okay, this guy, I could take him. It's two outside, they're armed, dog there, that guy, sniper tower, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
It's like
that moment of realization, there's actually no getting out of this.
It's always an option.
It's a movie.
Like, yeah, you're like, that won't work. Yeah. That won't work.
Well, if they had guns, so it was like, it was a wrap.
I'm going to Transnistrian jail.
You know, when you agree to give, when you're like, yeah, okay, you take the 4,000. Obviously, I feel like that's a fucking real lot of money to them. Are they just? Do they?
They must be laughing.
Would they
saw that. The average wage
is
like $100 a month or something.
Yeah.
So,
but did they even show that? Was it like a norm to them and they took it, or were they like very?
No, they were probably very happy after I left.
Yeah.
But at the time,
they didn't show
they kept it simple, kept it straight.
Bro, poker face.
Yeah.
You know what? They had their game straight,
The second you was gone down that road, by the way, you know, they turned around to the boys like, yes!
Of course. They were laughing their asses off. Look at this jackass,
100%.
Mr. Eurovision. Fuck him.